three guppies with gunnery teams, and they just one of them activated and one shot Demolisher with a lucky roll, and then killed another raider, and then activated bombers to kill a third raider, and that was like all in one activation on like turn 3. It was pretty bad. And then the third game, it was kind of like an even mix. I'm not even sure if I finished it. I don't remember. Oh no, we finished it, but I lost Demolisher and the Raider. I was against an MC80, a Guppy, and a CR90 with Akbar, and one of my Raiders just went on a murder spree and wiped out his list. Like, just set up consecutive shots and wiped out his list. But I'd lost like 3 of my Raiders, and my fighters only had like 2 Raiders left. So I guess it was like a 7-3 win. And yeah. And then then the World Cup was starting, and I posted a list. It was like an ISD and a Vic and Glide, like a real meta conservative all-rounders list that I was trying to get better at. And then when, after having some success in this and recognizing that my losses were just because I made an extreme list and they out-extremed me, basically. I posted this list, and then an hour before the tournament actually started, I went to edit it, and it failed to edit. So I actually got on the next day, and my list was this, and not the whichever I decided to switch it to. I don't even remember at this point. And I was like, no, I have my random conservative, not conservative list. So it was, but I was stuck with it, and now I'm here.
Because this has worked out pretty well.
Yeah, every single list I played against, this was designed to destroy 3-ship lists.
Yeah.
And every single list I've played against has been 3 ships, and I've been first player. Even against JJ, I'm gonna have first and last activation and first play, because I'm first player.
Yep.
So I'm pretty confident. It's same tactics I've used the entire game. So we'll see.
But it's just the same concept, and really a lot of the things that he does. Well, I don't want to talk too much about.
All right, guys. Well, we're currently semi-live. We're not actually broadcasting any voices or anything, but I've got the live stream running and a standby picture up. So
okay, is that the Jar Jar Force Awakens poster?
It's a different Force Awakens poster this time. You go on and poke your head in and check it if you want.
FYI, you are broadcasting voices.
Shouldn't be broadcasting voices. Everything should be muted.
Hey guys, we're broadcasting voices.
No, I'm definitely hearing myself and you talking. Oh, Finn. That took me forever to...
Shouldn't be broadcasting voices. And we are broadcasting voices! Hooray!
You already have 6 people watching.
Well, might as well unmute everything since we are broadcasting voices for some god-awful reason. Hey, everybody! We're not just semi-live, we're actually live! Yay!
Looks like JJ just finished his event, so he'll probably be over in a second.
Alright, then I might as well post to the various places to tell them we're going live, and I'll bring up the match preview in a second here.
Okay, so JJ's finishing up some stuff, so he wants a few minutes anyway.
Well, we got a few minutes.
Yep.
Cool,
For
15
those
minutes.
few minutes, I'm gonna segregate us away from you, Klon, so that
Okay.
we're gonna be doing some preview stuff.
What? No player interview before the match starts?
Well, we could conduct a player interview right now. So, Klon, what do you think about your chances against JJ tonight?
I am pretty confident right now. I feel like I stacked enough advantages in my favor. He's not going to be able to, no matter how good he plays, the results are going to be in my hands. If I lose, it will be from my mistake and not his success. So I'm confident that as long as I don't completely mess it up, I'm going to win.
Fascinating. What would you say is the big key of the game?
As normally, just hit him fast, kill him quickly. I'll probably have Demolisher. It will depend, because the only advantage he does have deployment-wise is he will get the last deployment, but he has two big ships, the Guppy and the MC-30. So I'm going to have Demolisher hit whichever one he sets up first, basically. So I'll set up to knock out that, and even with Lando, I've done testing and he can't survive. The MC-30 can't survive my initial hit, so we'll see.
No, that MC-30, if that Demolisher gets a hold of it, that MC-30 is not going to last too terribly long. Well, that's it for Clontroper. We're going to leave him be, and Mag Truth, let's move into Sector 4, and once we're there, we'll set up and talk about the preview for this game.
Okay, I'm going to go grab something real fast.
Channel switched. User joined your channel. User joined your channel.
Here I was hoping we were going to mess with his head.
All right, so in a couple of seconds, you two will see it. Everyone watching should already be seeing it. It's going to be if you look on the stream, you're going to see the preview. It'll be the lists of both players. So we can take a look at each one, see how they're looking, and see how the game is going to bear itself out. Now, if you've been following the tournament up to this point, you know that both of these opponents today have some absolutely terrifying lists. Clone Trooper has been running his 4-Raider and Demolisher list that has bullied its way through the competition, and JJ has been no slouch either, running a absolutely devastating list that relies on long-range firepower from those turbo laser reroute circuits on almost everything that he has.
Yeah.
What he said.
PRCs are problematic, although I think the Clone Troopers list is well suited to deal with it because he's got evades all over the
Yes, he does. Double evades for everyone but the Gladiator, and that Gladiator is going to make very good use, I'm sure we'll see, of that final activation that he'll get, and the first activation that he'll be getting next turn. I would be incredibly surprised, and Clontrooper would have been lying this entire time if he didn't take first player with his initiative bid, which just barely jumps over JJ's at 387 versus 389. So using those 5 ships, he just has that final activation that he can use to get the Gladiator in position to move in and do 3 attacks without anyone being able to retaliate. And that's a really significant advantage for that Gladiator.
Yeah, I think the match is going to come down entirely to that gladiator. I don't know how JJ could do it, but if he can knock out the glad without taking too much damage, that's the only way I can see him really pulling this out.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the only other thing he could do is if he can knock out a Corvette before the Gladiator's first strike, at least he won't take
Yeah.
one after the other. But
I'd almost want to
Mhm.
sacrifice the AF2 if JJ's gonna basically JJ's gonna have to pick some ship to die horribly, and I think it's gonna be the AF2. I think Admonition has a chance of surviving if he can maneuver it properly, just because he can basically cancel most of an attack from one arc of that gladiator because of Admonition.
I can't say I disagree with anything anything at all about that. It'll be interesting to see. I don't think JJ's been second player at all this tournament yet, so it'll be interesting to see what objectives he selected and what objective of those Clone Trooper himself will select, because he's had just a absolutely dominating luck in getting very good objectives for his particular ships. I think he said that he ran 3 precision strikes in the initial round, and then a fleet ambush, which is just not right with that list, in the first elimination. And then he had himself a hyperspace assault, which again he handled very easily. So objectives for Clone Trooper have been really in his favor going into this, and it'll be interesting to see what JJ's has in store for him in terms of what he's brought to the table.
I actually thought about this. I was trying to figure out if I was JJ, what objectives I would bring. Thinking for Red, given his fleet, I would have assumed he would take Most Wanted.
That seems very likely, putting it, say, on Jaina's Light and using that to dodge through asteroids, or sitting behind his assault frigate and using it as a long-range snipers. Both very realistic options for him there. For Yellow, I'm really thinking that firing lanes would probably be something that he would consider, though I'm not sure the long-range red dice that he'd get would be beneficial with that, but I'm not sure if that's what he actually went with.
The only thing about fire lanes, because I thought about that too, is in this particular match that would be great for him, but I don't know how much that benefits this list in general.
Yeah, he might be. It might be a case where he's thinking, what list would conceivably outbid me, and make him go second player. And that might be why he thinks fire lanes, because
Not a bad thought.
There's very few lists with lots of long-range firepower are going to be trying to underbid him. It's all going to be the short-range brawlers that are going to be going for that, like Clone Troopers. I've just gotten word JJ has entered the room, and deployment and everything is about to start. So we're going to switch over to the actual gameplay itself. So stand by. And we're not going to have to think anymore. It looks like it is opening salvo, minefields, and hyperspace assault are the options. And that is a very good spread for Clone Trooper here.
Joined your channel.
By the way, JJ is now in the game. I don't know if you want to listen to us or just guess, but we will be starting deployment momentarily.
Okay, I think we're going to start with guessing, and we might move over if guessing becomes too difficult and cluttered.
Okay.
User left your channel.
All right. So yeah, opening salvo is just an absolutely dominating choice for Clone Trooper here, giving all 5 of his ships those extra 2 red dice to make on that first attack. I I would be surprised if he picked anything else.
I would just go with Salvo if I were him.
Yeah, I'm really surprised not to see Most Wanted.
I am very surprised not to see Most Wanted. I would have figured that would have made the cut in any list, but opening salvo does play well with a 4-ship list, and especially with a ship that can make those long-range attacks and has black dice and ordnance like the admonition. So that may be why he went with that choice.
It does mean that Clone Trooper's approach is going to have to be that much more considered.
Both players are going to have to be very careful with their initial deployment and approach, because that's a lot of potential damage being put out there on the field. Between the black dice getting added at long range for JJ and the red dice being added for Clone. But do recall, Clone hasn't actually selected yet. We haven't seen any movement there, so it may be he may be taking something else. He may be looking at hyperspace assault and considering that, since that's what he won his last game with.
And that would leave him at the beginning with ships on the field to 5 ships on the field to his 3.
And it looks like he's going with minefields. It looks like he's not willing to give that extra long-range firepower to JJ here. So it looks like minefield is the winner.
Very interesting choice. That was the one that I in my head threw out.
I agree. I'm not entirely sure I agree with that decision, but that's what Clone's going with, and he's had more experience with this list than we have, certainly. So
yeah, absolutely.
The other question that we're going to have to see now is how JJ is going to set that minefield up, because if you're selecting minefields, and I've gone into this in more detail elsewhere, if you select minefields, you have to really have a plan in mind with your deployment. And in my local meta, I know some of the guys have gone crazy hopping onto Vassal, printing out these elaborate diagrams of where to place each rock and where to place each mine token in relation to the rocks. And a lot of craziness involved with that. Dave, if you're watching, I'm looking at you in particular.
My local meta is 4 or 5 people getting drunk. So we don't have that. Our minefields tend to be hilarious.
Oh, I would love that to be related to our meta. Our store owner has a policy against outside food and drink, but my girlfriend a few months ago she quit, but she used to work at a brew pub, and so every now and then a growler would wind up in the back room filled with a local brew, and then that growler was returned empty at the end of the night. That's right, kids. We're talking about drinking in the live stream. Hi, any under 21s out there?
Remember that consumption of alcohol before the age of 21 can cause serious damage to your developing frontal lobe. Not be done.
Please remember to always have a designated driver.
Drink responsibly.
Remember, don't drink and fly.
It was no surprise, but JJ clearly has a very clear plan of what he wants to do with it.
looks like he may be blocking off an entire side of the board with his obstacles. It's interesting. Most of the obstacles are being placed a little closer to his side of the board. And then we've got that last one on the complete opposite side. Oh, nope, now it's getting placed. And it's again on his side of the board. So he may be setting this up to either protect a flank or to set up to move his ships in such a way that Klon can't chase him without suffering a lot of punishment.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried if JJ sets up in that mess to try and mitigate some of the Raider rush.
Entirely possible. We may see him. We may see him set up at a extreme angle and just try and start broadsides early.
It's entirely possible that Klon isn't careful, that he could lose Raider to mines or JJ fires a shot.
A Raider hitting 2 mines would be enough to potentially just end it right then and there. It looks like the first few mines are beginning to come out. And again, everything seems to be clustering toward JJ's side of the field. Yeah, at least the first one is. Yeah, he's definitely trying to close off. He's definitely trying to close off his side of the field from any potential flanks. That's what it looks like he's going for here. Remember that as player 2, and because this is elimination, as player 2, JJ wins without firing a shot. If he can manage to get through the end without having any of his ships or squadrons destroyed, he can actually just win this game by simply existing.
I think you're generally looking at what JJ's intended flight path is going to be.
It looks like he's completely shut off that side of the board from Clone. Although it's not going to be enough to keep Clone from running up the edge if he really, really wants to, or attempting to blunder through the mines if that's something, if he's willing to sacrifice a ship to do so.
You guys think? Do you think up the what is our left side of the board down to Klon?
What I'm not entirely sure of is if he sets up his ships so that they're pointed to fly around from our left to our right, or if he sets up his ships to fly from our right to our left.
I would probably venture a guess at the right to the left, because if Clone, this allows JJ to basically choose between either going toward the middle or staying on his deployment edge. I think Clone could attempt to mitigate this by closing that left side up and coming up around that side. So if JJ goes left to right and then hooks in toward the middle of the board while JJ is committed to the full left side, I think it could still work for JJ. Whereas if you do the reverse, he's pretty much stuck to going to one certain area.
Well, it looks like the flagship has been placed. Clone Trooper's flagship comes out, and it is pointed really towards the middle of the minefields.
I wonder if he tries to jump the mineshield.
Yeah, he may be planning on jumping the minefield based on where JJ sets up here. At the very least, I think he's putting his flagship there to keep it relatively out of the fight.
Also
Yeah.
keeps JJ honest in deployment.
Yeah, absolutely. And every time I've seen Clone played, usually the flagship more or less stays out of the fight.
It's the last thing that he wants to have rushing in, being the most expensive of his raiders, though each one of his raiders is capable of functioning without any additional help from Screed. Screed just is the icing on the cake. Those of you that were tuned in during our semi-broadcast at the beginning here may have heard Clone talking about how this list was created and how the Raider, this Raider list was originally designed as a Darth Vader captain, a Darth Vader commander list, and with lots of rerolls all around, and decided that Screed was a better fit for it, making that last reroll into something nasty, because it wasn't a reroll at all. It was just fixing some badly rerolled dice.
Yeah, there you have it. JJ's on the right there.
Looks like speed 2 for the flagship Raider, and speed... It's looking like speed 2 for Jaina's Light.
I love Jaina's Light. Favorite titles in the
For
Oh,
two,
yeah,
for
it's amazing.
oh my, yeah, I can't think of any 2 points besides maybe Nita that just feels like a wonderful fit for the ship that it gets put on. And the other two CR90 titles, I'm less enthusiastic about.
I like the Tantive Ramus combo. I just can never seem to fit it into a list.
The problem with Tantive for Ramus is that Ramus just really wants to be on
Somewhere else.
something else. Like Yavaris or Salvation or your MC80 or...
Pretty much anywhere.
everything else.
He's just a wonderful officer upgrade for ships that don't really want to take a different officer. And the only drawback is you only get one of them.
Might have had more little Antilles running around the universe.
Looks like we're starting to see some squadron deployment while we've been chatting. All of JJ's available squadrons have come out now, as has one of the big angry raiders. The ones with expanded launchers, bringing their front arc to just absolutely ludicrous 4 black, 2 blue levels. And the TIE squadrons have been placed as well, just outside of where those X-wings have lined up. And I think that's the Instigator going down, aiming directly at those X-wings. That's right, and speed 2 all around for both the Xiphos and Instigator. If something happens, feel free to comment on it. I'm going to go and change the scores to accurately reflect who's on the top and who's on the bottom.
I will say I really like not looking forward. But to be fair, JJ doesn't really have a lot of braces.
No, not so much. So those intelligence officers are probably more going to come into play on the redirects that that those CR90s are rocking. And looks like the minefield is more to prevent a flank as the next CR90 goes down, angling to come around to the right side from the top. Looks like speed 2 for the CR90 here. And Dagger, the other heavy hitter of the Raiders, is down, also going speed 2. So all his Raiders are down, all pointed forward and all going about the same speed. Set up speed 2. Got the ties over in the center left with the ties and the instigator filling up the left-hand flank. It's going to be a short play field with those mines over to the left. And the heavy hitters, Xiphos and Dagger, arrayed out in the center and right of his formation, with his flagship just kind of trailing off into the middle of nowhere, trying to keep it safe. Meanwhile, on the other side, JJ's has one CR90 facing forward, not going particularly fast, roughly in the middle of the enemy formation across from it. And his squadrons have arranged themselves to the left of that, and even further left, tucked behind cover to keep them from being flanked. His other CR90, the non-Jaina's Light, has gone down, and we're still waiting to see what his next placement is going to be. Looks like JJ is reminding himself where those mines are, and thus where it'll be safe to actually bring out his own... looks like his flagship has come out, and it is tucked way in the back, but still headed to the right towards that whole cluster, for lack of a better term.
Like he's either going to try and slide along, or maybe even jump those two mines on the side.
That may actually be what he's planning here. Maybe jumping them, taking the hit, while Klon expects him to just mosey on along, jumps those, and then by taking those hits on his flagship, frees up admonition to go in. And looks like Demolisher has popped... Oh, no, never mind. Demolisher's really thinking hard about where he wants to go. He may be... The other thought is he may be trying to sucker Demolisher into trying to go through those mines to get attacks on that flagship early.
And that would kind of play into what Clone's plan, or at least that factors into Clone's plan, because Clone wants to go after that AF2.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like Clone has thought better about crashing through the mines and has instead set his Demolisher up. He's still thinking. He had it for a second there. He's weighing the options, putting it down between each of the different raiders, and really thinking hard about it.
Part of the concern for him has to be that whatever ship he takes, he's going to have a hard time doubling back.
He's, based on how JJ has set up, really his ships have kind of a one-way trip into where JJ is setting up. So Klon's big decision is not only how fast he's going to close, but once he gets there, how he's going to keep from getting into a position that he doesn't want to be, potentially flying off the board while setting up his shots. And it'll be easier for him with the Raiders, because the Raiders, he can have that navigate token set up and ready to go. But there's not a lot of room to maneuver over there, and JJ's really closed down on one of the Raiders' biggest advantages, which is that maneuverability.
Kind of wonder if JJ is going to barrel through some of these mines at this point.
That is a question, and certainly something that we are going to have to see. Because he could go either way, and that's one benefit that JJ is going to have here, is the ability to take either one of those options.
He's actually somewhat well set up to just go straight for Screed.
Where admonition goes down is really going to be, well, I shouldn't say really, probably going to be telling of his overall plans. And
He goes straight to the minefield.
He is going straight through that minefield. He's got his deployment set up so that now Klon's got to make a decision. All of his heavy hitters are far on that right flank, and with his flagship and admonition set up to crash the mines, crash his own mines. Now he's got to choose whether to swing his heavy hitters over to the left and engage admonition and the flagship, or keep them going straight and loop them around and have to deal with taking those broadsides while still being shot at by the CR-90s. So either the CR-90s are going to sneak their way in and flank his heavy hitters, or he's going to be getting broadsides from the assault frigate and MC-30. And don't forget, he's still got one last squadron to place, which we'll probably see plop down in the middle of the other squadrons, if I had my guess. I think it's an A-wing.
Yeah.
We're seeing speed 1 initially from the admonition, and speed 2 from the Gallant Haven. So it's definitely going to be the Gallant Haven that breaks through first and takes those mines. Or it could be an elaborate fake out. We'll have to see.
Oh.
And the A-wing is being placed sort of close, but not quite with the rest of the group.
They're in the dial setting portion of the arrow.
And dials are being set, so we're going to see our first bit of action in just a little bit here.
We'll probably see almost blanket navigate commands for those raiders. JJ likes to jump up to speed 4, kind of do a quasi-Ozzel. without actually having
Mhm.
options.
And really, that ability to go from speed 2 to speed 4 or back down again, being able to change your speed by 2 just adds a layer of versatility and positioning that you really can't match. And that's why commanders like Garm, Tarkin, Ozzel, the ones that give you the tokens and the ones that give you the ability to do that natively. And for that matter, engine techs, say, on a Demolisher, are just absolutely murderous at making sure that your ships go exactly where you want them to be. And really, Armada's a game, I'd say, what, 30% dice luck and 70% positioning?
I don't know,
I agree with
Truthy.
that.
What do you think of the dice luck? You think it's a
Yes, I agree with that.
yeah, no, that's definitely true.
Mhm.
Positioning and maneuver.
For those of you who didn't get to see the last matchup yesterday, Truthiness had himself just a painful string of bad luck in an initial bombing run with, what was it, 6 TIE bombers, Major Rhymer, and Darth Vader, where you
yeah.
rolled
It was
3
85
total
dice.
damage that was braced to 2.
Yep, that's about right.
There was also one. There was a hit crit that got evaded to a blank.
Oh yeah, that's right. A hit crit that got evaded to a blank. So there was 5 damage rolled out of 8 ships, and 2 damage that actually made it onto an ISD.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Hit up for a little bit when your VSD got to shoot.
A little bit.
A little bit. Not
All
a lot,
right.
a little bit.
We've got our first movement. Looks like Dagger has revealed a navigate command, and I'm guessing took the token. Can one of you guys confirm?
Yeah, I took the token.
Okay, I don't like to move around too much in the stream to verify things on cards, but I will when it needs to make a point. But I'd rather just kind of sit on the screen as it is. And I think we're going to probably see ourselves zoomed out at 30% zoom for a considerable amount of time.
Token here as well on this CR90.
CR90's taken its activation, and it looks like it used a navigate token, used a navigate dial to drop its speed down to 2.
No, he was already at 2. He took a token.
Well, I thought he had set up initially at 3, but I guess I was mistaken. And flagship going, also at speed 2. I'm guessing he's grabbing the token as well.
Yep. I think we'll see mostly token grabbing.
Gonna be tokens. Maybe we might see a speed up from the assault frigate, depending on where the rest of the heavy hitters wind up. If they keep arcing off and to the right, we may see some acceleration here. Oh, Gallon Haven's just going to go right on ahead.
Slowing down.
Hanging back.
I wonder if he'll change his yaw.
Now, where are you going, buddy? At speed 1.
Just moseying on ahead.
Other speed 1. Make it harder to jump, though. That was his plan.
Looks like Instigator is moving his way into the center of the, pointed at the center of the fighter bubble. Moving a little bit to the left in that, what in Wave 1 was called the Nebulon Shimmy.
Biggs, you've been paying more attention to the lists in the tournament. Were there a lot of Nebulons, or were there any Nebulons taken?
There were some Nebulons taken. We had,
Well, I guess Yavaris.
we had,
non-Yavaris.
we had 2 Yavaris make it to the semifinals, or the quarterfinals, I should say, and neither one of them made their way out of the quarterfinals. But I'm trying to think how many. I think I saw a redemption sneak in somewhere, and I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure there was some salvations. I'm not sure how many naked Nebs snuck in. That's something I'm going to look at. You guys commentate on what happens. I'm going to actually go digging and find out just how many Nebulons we were looking at here.
Admonition activated, took a token.
I'm gonna back out for a second. I gotta put the kid to bed.
Well, streamers, it's just me now.
By yourself.
Don't wanna be all by yourself as Biggs looks up stuff.
Start the shuffle for maneuver. Last Corvette active. Hard move as you barely. So as to not have dead air. Just a few things. Both lists. Really love Clontroper's Intel Officer expanded launcher combo, as I mentioned before, does a nice job. Really eliminating defensive options.
Well, I'm done with my cursory research, and what I came out with is there were a total of 3 Yavarises that were in the initial lists, and of those 3 Yavarises, 2 of them made the quarterfinals and then promptly dropped out, and there were also 2 salvations that made the cut, and I don't think any of the salvations did particularly well. One of them may have made the first elimination rounds. I'm not sure. I wasn't paying too close attention to that. I was just counting.
I don't know if you saw this, Biggs. If you look at Jaina's Light, made a very interesting.
Yeah, did a hard turn away and is going for a run. And we may... I'm not sure if the other CR90 is going to continue on its current course or cut around as well. He may be trying to sucker some of the enemy raiders out of the fight. So we'll see how that turns out. And here comes Demolisher as the last activation.
Yeah. I really like this move.
Mm-hmm. So Demolisher and one of the two raiders have turned in to go after some of the bigger threats that are hanging back from JJ. And the other one continues on ahead, looking to intercept Jaina's light, which just isn't there.
Very, very tight maneuvering.
Keeping his squadrons back for a screen, obviously pretty worried about the bombers getting in early and getting their licks in. Demolisher now has a banked navigate token, so it may be able to take a different command other than navigate like it always wants to do. You can look for that in, we'll say, turn 3 or turn 4. It may go without the navigate command. Looks like the squadrons are moving to protect the unnamed CR. They're moving into the asteroid field. I'm sorry. They're moving into the asteroid field, looking to screen the big boys.
I think they also want to kind of close the gap with Gallant Haven.
No, that's almost a certainty. The instigator can't hurt them very hard between Jan and Gallant Haven if they're all in range.
Trying to.
Tom Pugh, I hate to say it, but it may in fact be my crappy internet that keeps jerking about as well. I don't exactly have the best connection here either, so. Actually, Jaina's Light was the first ship to deploy, and the untitled CR-90 was the next ship to deploy after most of the raiders were already down and placed. And the A-Wing's moving, again, closer to the Gallant Haven, and looking more and more like it may try to jump the squadrons over the mines to go after some things at long range.
Definitely not next turn.
Nope, not next turn. One thing that we haven't talked about is JJ's admonition, which is really kitted out for defense between the admonition title and, if I'm remembering correctly, also Lando Calrissian, which can do some really amazing things.
Especially you look at one of the great things about Lando. Has so many ways of modifying. Got the ordnance section. And Lando happens at the end of all. Have this beautiful 6 or 8 damage out of 4 black dice, all hit crits. They're wonderful. They're fantastic. And then you know what? No, reroll that whole mess.
And I think a lot of people that have been following what's been going on have seen Lando work really, really well in my game against Chilligan, although not enough to win me that game, and among many, many mistakes that I made in that game. Lando certainly wasn't one of them because he re-rolled 7 damage down to 0, which is
That's
more than you could ask.
truthiness-esque. with the black dice on the reroll.
Looks like Demolisher's going in towards Jaina's Light. He smells blood in the water, and he's going for the early punch. That should be enough to get him into black range. Yes, it does. He's going to punch that awfully hard. Let's see if Jaina's Light can survive it.
Ouch.
Yeah. Is he gonna get greedy here?
Yeah, why not?
He doesn't need to get greedy. He can just screed it to death. Goodbye, Jaina's Light.
Ouch. Vicious.
First blood goes to Clontroper, who scores 53 points on that really painful blast.
That's not even a particularly great roll either.
Yeah, but 6 damage and inaccuracy is more than enough. That double accuracy on the red was the particularly great part of that roll.
It's such a vicious little ship.
Yeah, an extra damage on the red. One of those, both of those reds turning up blank. One of those reds becoming a hit, and he may have managed to limp away with 1 hull remaining. But instead, 6 damage and inaccuracy is more than enough to clear away that redirect, and that's 2 shields and 4 hull without even trying.
Got options. Now Demolisher's in fantastic position. On the next, by the time these guys have all moved, he'll have position to approach just about everybody. Certainly he can approach that Corvette, unless it... First kind of good. Tough spot for JJ.
Really rough spot for JJ. Oh, slight mistake on the moving. But yeah, with that, with Jaina's Light down, he's lost a good portion of his long-range firepower, and none of his other ships are really in position to retaliate yet. Everyone always forgets just the sheer amount of distance that Gladiator can cover with its effective speed 4.
4. And then he shoots 4 black dice at you. Oh, it looks like he's gonna get a shot though with that CR90.
But it's not going to be a terribly effective one. Just 1 red dice.
Get evaded.
If he doesn't have a concentrate fire prepped. And I would be surprised if I saw a concentrate fire token prepped.
I expect that guy has a navigate.
Yeah, I'd be betting pretty heavy on the navigate myself as well. I don't think JJ was in any way ready for that Demolisher to be there.
Brought his here came up far side there on that far flank. Bumped it up to speed.
Mm-hmm. Still holding on to the navigate token. So
But admonition does.
And there's that navigate command from the CR90. Is he going to try and skirt along the edge? And we've got a slight delay. Klon has taken a bit of a timeout. So, in absence of any gameplay, I guess we could talk about other stuff.
No, he's back. That was
Oh,
quick.
well, that was fast. And that'll be evaded. Sure enough. And we'll see how fast he plans to get out of dodge.
Gotta be feeling pretty confident right now.
He's definitely feeling good, having removed Jaina's light from the board.
Yes, I really like that maneuver by JJ. Unfortunately, he couldn't get it out. Couldn't get it free.
He had to think that speed 2 would be enough to keel over and make its getaway, but just wasn't in the cards. And you saw how Klon kinked his demolisher over slightly with his maneuver. You can actually get a little bit of extra movement towards your opponent with your arcs by doing a slight turn as you approach them. It actually gets the corner of your ship a little bit closer to their ship.
Right over.
As opposed to just going straight ahead.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, it's a wonderful little trick. Klon is a master. Close range. Punch you in the face with 1,000 dice.
He has split apart his ships now.
Way. Every possible avenue.
I don't think he quite knows what JJ has planned, so he's preparing for just about any of it.
And when you have 5 ships,
Now there's an interesting thought. We'll see if it's a good thought. JJ thinking really hard about kicking admonition over. And decides against it's just going to trundle forward speed 1. Instigator doing some fancy maneuvering of his own.
Raider extremely maneuverable at speed 2.
Doesn't even need that navigate command. And do you think we'll see Screed run off to the right here?
But coming towards the fight, block a flank.
Looks like that is the plan. Or at least something that's being considered.
Hmm. Like he's considering bringing him really far up.
Probably looking at speed 3. Yep, speed 3. Bringing that flagship into the fight. Almost certainly expecting that mine to go off on JJ rather than him.
Well, any maneuver that keeps JJ that mine from going off on front arc of. I don't know if that maneuver. Does have a navigate command, so he could bump up the speed 3 on the next. Or if that would allow him to jump the mine or not. He's pretty far away from them now.
Yeah, I don't think speed 4 might be enough to get him to jump past both those mines. But I don't think speed 3 will quite clear him.
Both of those mines are going to end up going.
And he's got to be very careful not. I don't think that he can legitimately go speed 0 with Demolisher breathing down his neck. Although, it is an option that's on the table.
True.
Looks like the squadrons are moving up so that they can be in easy activation range of the flagship there.
Got a nice little fighter ball, but it's not devastating.
No, not really. And it's well, I think the X-Wings don't get enough respect as a bomber force with the ability to do 2 damage. They're still not the scariest fighter bomber that you could have pointed your way.
Too many blanks.
They're high risk, high reward. I've had luck with them in the past, and I've had some terrible luck with them in the past.
X-wings. I mean, this is what you want X-wings for. They're a great fighter, superiority fighter, especially with the inclusion.
Between Gallant Haven and Jan Ors giving a brace to everybody. If you remember that combo, which we saw a lot more in Wave 1, where Gallant Haven and named X-Wing pilots would brace their damage down to 1, and then Gallant Haven would reduce it to 0. And Jan can do exactly that for generic X-Wings, so it's more of a frightening combo than it looks on paper.
Fortunately for JJ in this particular match, it's not a super useful.
No, that it really isn't. And we're seeing turn 2 to turn 3, and The only shooting in turn 2 was that shot against the Jaina's Light and a single retaliatory strike from the unnamed CR90. And one was very, very effective, and the other not so much.
Turn.
We've got some issues with one of the mics clipping out. I'm not sure whether it's Mad Egg or Truthiness, but one of you's got...
Probably mine.
Yeah, I think one of you's got a speak to talk, and it's clipping out as you go below a certain threshold, maybe.
I don't have speak to talk. I just try and keep from talking too loudly. I'll just speak up a little bit more.
And we've got a little bit of a delay. Klon has a phone call, it looks like. So, let's talk about the game yesterday. Still a bitter fresh wound in Truthiness's mind, I'm sure. But I've got a few questions about yesterday, aside from what we've already discussed. Actually, we'll ask the first question. Truthiness, what did you think you would change, if anything, about your list or your objectives going into a new tournament?
Might still be putting his kid to bed.
Oh, okay. Well, then forget that question. And forget my follow-up question. Darn, both my questions were for Truthiness. Mad Egg, winning's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I look forward to getting completely devastated by this. Well, I don't want to give it to Clontrooper yet, but
yeah, it's certainly not Clontrooper's game yet, but it's tilting heavily in that direction, we'll say.
I will say this though. JJ manages to pull this out. I mean, I already didn't want to play him. If he manages to pull this one out, I really don't want to.
JJ's a particularly scary opponent. I mean, we've talked about him in the past, and his signature on the forums tells you everything that you need to know about him. Runner-up in the first ever tournament that we held on the forums, winner of the second tournament, actually that Clontrooper was running. He ran that tournament. But JJ wound up winning the whole thing, and then the most recent tournament that we had, he came in a strong third place, and was actually the favorite to win before not losing his final game, but not winning it enough to take the first place overall. And actually, it was Truthiness that managed to sneak in and jump over two different people to clinch first place.
Fine, wing, madness fleet.
And whoever was just talking, you're the one that's got a little bit of mic clipping problems.
I don't know that there's really much that I can do to fix it.
Well, it's just something we'll have to deal with, and those of you in the chat that are commenting about it, we know that it's an issue. Sorry.
Yeah.
And Klon being back, he moved his Raider up a little bit to try and cut off the unnamed CR90. Though that unnamed CR90 certainly has room to maneuver. He's not quite at the edge of the map yet, and I'm gonna adjust the map to show you a little bit more accurately where the edges are.
Also got a squadron command coming out of Gallant Haven.
Oh, well, there we go. Let's see where those squadrons go.
Because he has expanded hangars and Ramus, he's able to activate all 5 of his squadrons.
Oh, now that is a very nicely kitted out Gallant Haven.
One black dice to the front.
What we won't see is we won't see quite enough, unless we have some just absolutely amazing luck, we're not going to see enough damage to finish off Screed, but I mean, we could be awfully close here. And there's another damage, again from the A-Wing, doesn't have Bomber, but that hit crit still enough for 1 damage, and with that, with those little knife points going into the Raider, there's nothing that his defense tokens can do about it. And they're all on the front arc, which Gallant Haven will be able to hit with 2 red dice. So if everything goes his way, and there's another hit, if everything goes his way, we could see it removed from the board, although the odds are not in his favor to do so.
We need to have, I think, 2 double hits now, bro.
The double hits would be braced away. So
Right,
actually what he's looking for, at least single hits. A crit would be excellent, because a crit could flip a double damage up. It looks like another single hit. And so we've got 2 damage now onto that Gladiator. We've got 1 more X-Wing who's gonna sneak into position, and if he can get a hit or a crit across onto that front arc, then he's got a chance to finish him off. And there's another hit. There's an opportunity to just straight up end Screed right here and now.
He's only got the 2 red dice coming out the front.
Right, he's only got 2 red dice, so 1 can be evaded, so he's got to get both of them as at least a hit.
But even then, he survives.
No, because as long as one of them's a hit, he can't. As long as both of them are hits, he can't evade them both. So he's got 3 damage on him right now. He needs 2 hits to do it, and that's not going to be enough. That's going to be enough to be evaded away. Tough break for JJ. Admonition's going to be able to try and do it as well. Now we may see the speed 0 come out.
Yeah.
And we do. The speed 0 comes out, and he's gonna go for another round of it with admonition, and admonition should have the firepower to do it. He's gonna slow down to speed 0 and let Clone come to him. That was some really, really good dice rolling. The odds were not in his favor because he needed just 1 of those dice to go wrong, and it didn't happen until the very end, but that last red dice was just enough to do it. Looks like Tanto was not expecting to take a ridiculous amount of damage to the face, so he's going to have to present a completely different arc. No, he is going to shoot those squadrons. We're probably going to be looking at no brace tokens left for Jan once all of this shooting's over. Or maybe we will, maybe we'll still see a little bit. Not using the brace on the A-wing. There's 3 of the squadrons are in double arc. Jan will definitely brace to protect herself. He'll use the brace to keep the A-wing alive. And now he's looking at how exactly he's going to keep his arc away from admonition. And he's not in a good spot here. JJ's activation made him activate Tonto, and I don't know if Tonto's going to be able to get out of range of those mines. So we may be looking at Screed wiped off the board.
He can.
He's got the navigate command that can get him up to speed 4, and that's yeah, he's got the extra yaw. It looks like he's got the extra yaw taken at speed 1, but he's not going to be able to do it on that side. He's going to have to come to the other side if he wants to make that maneuver. He may go speed 2 or speed 3 and take his chances with that mine. Probably his best bet is to clear that mine out so that his other ships can get in and do the damage.
Does look like what he's thinking about doing.
Mm-hmm. It looks like he's decided to go for speed 2. He may clear those mines. We'll see. And he does clear the mines, so Tonto does not instantly go pop. And he does have a single red dice shot on his front arc, which is not going to be enough to overcome those evades. So Tonto will live. Looks like the CR90s. Looks like the nameless CR90s going for a concentrate fire, looking to actually do some damage. And we'll see who he's going to do it against. Maybe angling for Demolisher, yeah. At least try to exhaust his evade.
Actually, I don't think he quite has Demolisher. It looks like it's on the white plastic.
Yeah.
At an extreme zoom, it is looking like it's looking more and more like it's on that plastic, or if anything, it's got just the barest bit of
Wow.
the barest bit of black in on there. So I don't know. I'd be hard pressed to rule on it.
Roll a dice.
Looks like that's what they're doing. And he's been given permission to go ahead. It looks like he won the roll-off, and he's elected to go double hit crit on that Demolisher's front arc. Man. And there's general consensus that, yeah, we couldn't quite tell.
That's about as close, I think, as it gets, right?
Yeah, because zoom.
And it was out, and he took the shot on the dagger instead. One damage to the dagger's front arc, and away goes the CR90, still at speed 3, getting awfully close to the edge of that board. He'll start turning around to avoid just handing those points directly to Clon.
Imagine Clown will just... I guess you can chase him with the raid. Probably makes more sense. There you go.
Only admonition left to be activated for JJ here, and Klon still has the majority of his ships left to go, including Demolisher. Instigators playing around with getting towards those squadrons, and he's not getting quite there. He's going to stay outside of the mines. Everyone being very cautious around those mines.
Mines can be extreme.
I would not be surprised to watch ammunition go down to 0 for this.
I would not either. I don't think anyone's willing to test the mines, such as it is.
Kind of dangerous though, because if admonition drops to 0 now, he's taking 3 separate shots probably from the mine.
And he's only got the admonition title, which he can still use the admonition title without being able to use any tokens defensively.
I'm wondering if he's just willing to sacrifice admonition to keep Gallant Haven going.
He very well may.
May not have a choice.
Yeah.
Might have a side arc shot on the back of Otto.
Yeah, but he won't be able to get the back in line of sight unless he's got the side arc.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Alright, I'm gonna have to sign out for the night. Well, I really don't want to miss this, but oh well.
Sorry to lose your truth.
There it is.
Yeah,
Thanks for participating, Truth.
You got the rear arc in the side.
User disconnected
I don't
from
think
your
it's line of
channel.
sight though.
I can't quite tell if that's middle. That's coming awfully close. Looks like he's faded it though, or he's turned it off. I wanted to see with the ship faded how that line came across, because underneath the X-wings and the ship itself, I couldn't tell quite where that line was being drawn. They must have come to some consensus without, though. And it looks like admonition's not even bothering to shoot and is just speeding down to speed 0 anyway. Obviously, looking to sacrifice himself to occupy Demolisher for a turn.
Here comes the beast.
Yep, here comes what we were waiting for. And Demolisher's gonna work his way around and then work his magic upon Admonition. And Demolisher's coming straight in. Looking to be the angry beast that everyone knows that he is.
Cleared the,
No overlap then. And here comes the engine techs. And no mine for Demolisher either. And here comes the big painful roll. I think we can probably expect to see Lando used here to try and give Admonition a chance to. Ooh.
the accuracy. It doesn't.
Accuracy doesn't matter. Rerolls a blank, but that's going to be turned into 8 damage. And then that's going to see Lando used. And that's dropped down to 5 damage. And Admonition's going to discard a token and just take it all on shields.
One face up from. Oh no, he's got.
No
expanded
APTs,
launchers.
expanded launchers.
I have PSD from AP. I see them everywhere.
Okay.
All of his defenses.
That's right, Clone Trooper. We know it was Lando and Admonition. And yeah, that was pretty much all of his tricks to not die. And by all of his tricks, I mean Lando.
Well, he also canceled the die.
Yeah, and he can still cancel the die the next turn, but he's going to take 4 damage, I'm pretty sure.
Actually. Khan's actually going to be able to bring himself into position. JJ looking like he's ready to concede this.
Yeah, it's starting to look that way, isn't it?
Monster that
This is
Clontroper created is devastating.
it's certainly certainly working out in his favor, and I've got to say that I don't think that the minefields that were set up really favored JJ here. I'm not sure if it's a case of JJ's plan not working out, or JJ not really thinking that Clone would have taken his minefield and not really coming in with a plan. I mean, he did set up his mines very deliberately and seemed to have an idea going forward, but the maneuverability that Clone was able to have, even with those mines in place, meant that JJ just wasn't able to use his list and his his minefields in the way that he was expecting to.
I think he definitely wanted Clontrooper to come to him through the mines.
That's almost certainly what he was planning on, and if that's what he was going for, I think he really missed the boat in his setup. If you remember at the beginning, we were trying to guess exactly how he would set up his ships to use that minefield, and I don't think any of us really came up with that setup. I mean, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback it now, but
And it's funny because we were all very surprised that Clone took minefields in the first place.
especially with and how Clone Trooper's been maneuvering, there haven't been that many shots that have gotten off. I mean, really, the only thing I can think is that if he had taken opening salvo, his flagship would have been very, very dead, but that's not that
really
different from what's happening now. 2 extra dice probably would have done the trick.
Well, sure, but there wouldn't have been mines on the table either.
That is also true. I mean, that's if we consider board conditions being as they are. Jaina's Light definitely would have still exploded. But yeah, the setup itself would have been significantly different.
Tough to say.
And here comes Demolisher. And there goes Admonition.
The end of Admonition.
Yep. We'll probably see the blank re-rolled. And maybe one of the... Well, the blank's definitely been re-rolled. He's re-rolling all of them. He's going for the knockout punch. And that'll still be enough. He'll only be able to cancel one of those. And that's still 4 damage through to the hull, and goodbye Admonition. Which means that Demolisher will be able to move and get into position to hammer away at the Gallant Haven.
Still has no defense tokens available.
Nope, still going speed 0, so still no defense tokens available. And that means Demolisher just gets to have all the fun that it wants. But it'll be 4 black dice from a side arc, because he's not going to be able to use his front arc again. And he gets himself awfully close. And that'll be 6 damage. So there goes half the hull of the Gallant Haven in 1 salvo. And one of those will be a face-up damage card. And that is capacitor failure, which is going to, if I remember correctly, drop some shields. I don't have them available.
I gotcha. If a hull zone has no remaining shields, you cannot recover shields in it, nor move shields to it. If that hull zone is defending, you cannot spend redirect token.
Well, I don't think that's going to come into effect here. And Gallant Haven reveals a squadron command committed to at least going out with some class.
Wow. He refuses to be blanked.
And he won't be blanked. He does manage to take out Screed.
Unfortunately for JJ, Armada's not one of those games where if you cut off the head, the body dies away.
Sadly, no. Screed is definitely his most expensive ship, worth 80 points. So at least that's something. It keeps it from being a 10-0 loss. Though, as we've said before, we're in elimination now. MOV, tournament points. The Jedi Knight craves not these things. And we're starting to see some shots come across on the Demolisher. This one being a double hit. And that is a threat that the X-Wings do bring, even though it's not a amazing threat, it's still a threat. And that X-Wing is still engaged with that TIE Fighter, and we'll have to shoot it.
Or not? Not that. Like really?
Yeah, he
Briggs?
will.
Come on. Come on, man. We'll lose anyway. Let me shoot my Demolisher.
Sorry, JJ. I know you want to shoot that Demolisher. Your other X-Wing can do it. Like Klon better let him have that double hit. Or crit. Demolisher is losing shields as he goes. I'm not sure he's got a 5 damage broadside to hit him with, but stranger things have happened. And that's not the way to do that. Nope. Well, that's unfortunate.
Killed both his brace and redirect because I imagine he doesn't feel he's going to need.
He cannot be thinking that. So.
Stuck at 0. Good for.
Well, he used his token to slow down to speed 0, so without having a navigate command plotted, he's pretty much stuck here.
I hate to say it, but it does look like this one's more or less.
Yeah, it feels pretty decided right now. Though the game is still played. Instigator is not going to be able to shoot anything, and it is going to almost certainly play with the mines.
Oh, he's got a nav.
He does have a nav, but he's going what, speed 3 at the moment?
That's the one?
No, he's going speed 2. Even if he slows down to speed 1, I think that put him in range 1 of that token. He's going to be, it looks like he's looking to tie up as many squadrons as possible, though, so. Don't forget that JJ does have Dodonna. And Dodonna, if he gets double crits on the mine roll, that could be enough to just straight up disappear Instigator if he gets lucky with the crits. I mean, it's a possibility.
It would be, you know, I mean, it's entirely, it is possible, because if he rolls 2 crits and he rolls 2 structural damages, he could just...
Or he could run head at speed 3 straight and eat both mines, and that would be pretty effective. Well, say one thing, JJ did get him to maneuver into those mines.
Yes.
Small victories. We'll call that a moral victory.
Call it a Pyrrhic victory.
Kaboom!
It happens.
Just 1 crit. That's enough to live through it.
What his choices are.
And none of them are particularly helpful. We're familiar with capacitor failure already. No redirects. I don't think that's going to be taken. Disengaged fire control is,
When declaring
if I recall,
the target of an attack, you cannot choose a target against whom the attack would be obstructed. So, not great.
so it looks like it's power failure.
Bounce down
And
here, engineering.
the best of the options, but still not particularly amazing.
Not super helpful there. Really looking for, you know, double crit, double structural damage.
That's about the only thing that would work at this point. And panning over so that we can remind everyone that there's still a CR-90 that is technically involved in the battle. And it's participating. Rolls 1 red crit and follows it up with a concentrate fire command.
As JJ said, dice, 1 crit, 1 double hit, RC was evaded.
So 1 more damage done to the front arc.
Round?
Not quite round yet. There's still a lot of JJ left to go.
Clontroper, you mean?
It'll be Dagger, trying to make sure that he doesn't go flying off the board. And then also the other raider that's sitting down near those TIE fighters. Dagger really wants to get those shots in on that lone CR90. He wants that. I think he wants the honor of that full table, but he's not going to risk Dagger to do it. Well, I don't know what that reversal was.
I think he did.
Yeah, as he notches it in, it changed the shape of the tool.
Double arc, but he's not going to get.
Yeah, it's doubtful that he'll get to use that. What with Demolisher right there, and wanting to get the flagship off the board more than just a single CR90.
CR90 might be able to harass. Oh, he's got a shot at that X-Wing, it looks like.
That he does. I'm sure he'll take it. And that'll be 2 damage on the X-Wing. And the TIE Fighter will still get to shoot once we get into Squadron. And now he's got to make sure Xiphos doesn't get anywhere near that mine. Or maybe just have him eat the mine. Nope, he manages to stay out of it. Everyone avoiding those mines like the plague. Clone Trooper seems very aware that Dodonna's on the table after that last crit choice. And we'll see the squadrons go. That's not the order that that I would have done it. Though he probably wants to save that other TIE squadron for tying up the other squadrons. That leaves the X-Wing alive to be a problem later. Probably not for too much longer, though. And the other TIE is free to go and slip his way into the middle of that cluster there. Just outside of Jan's range, but still making sure those X-Wings have to shoot the TIE first. Intel doesn't work against the Instigator squadrons, though it does still work against that TIE fighter. And with the new ruling, he's got to make sure that that TIE doesn't have heavy. Otherwise, those X-Wings could shoot at whatever they felt like. And we're on to turn 5. Turn 5 today is sponsored by Garmbel Iblis. Garmbel Iblis for all your token needs.
Once they've set their dials, I imagine we'll just see Demolisher wipe out Dodonna here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to see, and then we're going to see that CR90 continue to harass the Raider. And then a whole lot of squadrons dying.
The CR90 will get 2 shots, though. Not 2 shots, but 2 dice, which will be nice for him. Doesn't change.
And probably another concentrate fire.
Yeah.
Few good rolls, and oh, yep, there it comes. Poof. And that's 119 points off the board as General Dodonna and his gallant Haven disappear into a puff of smoke.
The good news for JJ is the Demolisher is now effectively out of the fight.
The bad news for JJ is that he really needs to kill the Demolisher if he can win.
Double hit and then brace.
We'll see that double hit re-rolled. And the damage braced down to 1. But we will see some face-up damage cards. More than just 1, probably. Oh, nope, just 1. Dodonna's dead. Dodonna's very, very dead.
Vector misaligned is a nice little card. Not going to help too much in this particular.
Not really. It's going to make him think really hard before he turns to follow him, though. Although I think he's probably going to anyway. Because the alternative is flying off the board.
Yeah. He might as well. He'll be turning the side that still has shields in it.
And staying far enough away that he's not going to be in range. And now we're going to see some squadrons start to melt.
Instigator has Jan and 2 War.
Well, goodbye, A-Wing.
The other guy do it.
Credit to JJ for continuing on with this game, such as it is. He's just playing for pride right now.
Port. Demolisher is just much for to deal with if you have to go second. I gotta say, I'm really not. Oh, he didn't shoot at the front door. Whatever. And that's the concession. Or the.
That's the concession.
Very well played game.
Winner, Clontroper5. Well done by Clontrooper. Really well played game. Didn't see any mistakes at all in his play. Really frustrated JJ's game completely. And all I can say is I'm really excited to see what you can come up with to stop him, Mad.
I thought about this, like I was wondering like who would I rather play, and I think what the ideal situation would have been for me is, if Clontrooper now like wins Powerball and the upheaval in his life just forces him to concede from the tournament. That's probably the best case scenario.
Well, hopefully you win that coin flip. Or, maybe maybe you schedule a thing and he loses internet and never shows up.
Yeah, right? Like, gotcha.
Technical wins are the best wins.
Technically correct. The best kind of correct.
That's all for you, Draz.
Yeah, no, I'm not at all looking forward to playing that list. I have absolutely no idea how to deal with it.
Now would be a good time as any to start coming up with an idea. I know, just thinking out loud here, 2 ships against the monstrosity that is those 5 is not going to be easy.
The only thing I have going for me is if I'm able to survive. My ships are more survivable than anything out on the board.
That is definitely the case, and
I won't be going at speed 0, probably.
yeah, I think slowing down to speed 0 is probably not a good decision.
I can. I mean, clearly I'll have fighter superiority. That's worth.
User joined your channel.
Hello.
Hey, there he is. There's the champion.
Hey there. Good to see you. Congratulations on your win. And it's time for some hype because we've got the 2 winners here in this channel live on the stream. And it's going to be a good one. I think I know who my prediction's going to be, but it's going to be a good one. And
I think that's fair.
I cannot wait to see how this actually turns out.
I think I could tell you how it's going to turn out. Not to kill the hype. But I do have some ideas. Some ideas. I think that I'm looking forward to watching them fail miserably. But
well, you heard it right here, folks. Matt has some ideas, and he has personally guaranteed Clone Troopers' defeat in the final, which will happen when they get around to scheduling it.
Sometime next week.
Hopefully on a night that I can actually stream it. If I can't, we'll figure something out.
Well, I mean, what's it called? We can talk about it all 3 of us. What's it called? We could talk about it all 3 of us and figure out.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna put up I'm gonna put up the victory thing again. Klon, you're gonna want to hop in real quick and see what I put up for a victory screen for you.
I'll pull it up. I had ideas too, but I've never really used this list as 2nd player, says JJ.
Yeah. I guess that's the advantage I have. My fleet at least is built to be 2nd player. It's not, however, built to take 1,000 damage. So.
It's not like 1,000. Well. It's like 60.
Okay. All right. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, there's.
I haven't actually dealt that much yet because no one survived long enough for me to deal that, but I'm capable of it.
Well, what I'm hoping is I've got a friend in my local meta that is absolutely enamored with your list, and I'm hoping, Clone, that he watches this stream, or at least the save of this stream, and is able to take away some good things that you did here and bring them to his own game, because I know I'm not playing against you, but I've had his number at least, so we'll see about that. He's been creeping those games ever closer. So,
well, let me ask you a question. We were all very surprised when you took minefields. What was in your head at that time?
Well, my thought on minefield, like hyperspace assault, I can do, but it tends to make it gives me the complete deployment advantage generally. So in my experience, it tends to bump my wins basically from a 10-0 or 9-1 to an 8-3 or an 8-2 or a 7-3. It doesn't swing the game, but it's just kind of it gives him a little bit more punch.
Right.
And then opening salvo, it doesn't benefit me. He's gonna die fast anyway. You know, like I can kill all the ships in 1 or 2 volleys, and it's not gonna make a difference if I opening salvo or not. it's just going to mean he can kill my ships in 1 to 2 volleys now instead of 3 to 4.
Yeah, that's a fair
And
point.
then the minefields, it's, I don't think he can do anything that will hinder me. Worst case scenario, I jump over the mines. All of my ships are capable of doing that very easily. I was going to do that with Instigator, but I switched
Have to.
to Concentrate Fire because I thought he was going to come in, but he didn't. So it's just kind of, you can make minefields, you know, he can section off a board like this and then make it smaller for my close range ships, or he can make like a line at the end that I just pop over.
I want to give JJ some credit. I think he's still listening to the stream now that he's hopped into it. I want to give him some credit for, he mentioned after the game was over in chat, in the text chat, that he did not want to just run from you the entire game, which is certainly something that he was capable of attempting.
This is true.
And he could have.
Didn't.
I'm actually a little bit as well. And I think he, after the start of turn 2, where your Demolisher just utterly annihilated his Jaina's Light, I think he was at that point committed to trying to take you out, and that was not where a victory was going to come for him.
That was a nice shot on Jaina's Light. Came from like across the map.
Yep. I did that to a Star Destroyer in the first elimination round on turn 1. I had to, you know, hit him a couple more times at the top of turn 2, but that's one of the things that Demolisher does. Yeah, I do want to say I really enjoy playing with JJ. I play with him pretty regularly, once every couple of weeks or so, and my favorite person to play against by far. Even if I'm losing, because he usually creams me. But
so how did your use of JJ as a regular opponent let you get into his mind to win this game?
Oh, not really at all.
How would you say that your rivalry, your sheer hatred of JJ, having played him so often, like the great rivalries of old, how would you say that inspired your ships to fire even harsher black die salvos?
For the record, they actually rolled below average for me, and JJ just has a very similar. Basically, if you took my list and you made it Rebel list, it would look very similar to JJ's. So they're just kind of glass cannons over there that are designed to dance around and not take a lot of hits. And so even when my guys are rolling kind of bad, you know, well, it wasn't that they were rolling bad. It was I wasn't even using my full modifications. You know, I only need to reroll 1 die instead of all of them plus greed to get the kills. So I don't think another day at the job, I guess, for my guys, but they enjoy shooting rebels more than Imperials. So that's a plus side. And Imperials get top 2 now.
Yeah. Rebels
that they do. Rebels are completely off the field, and a big part of that has been you, Clone, just utterly eliminating the Rebels. And I'd like to know if you've gotten into the stream to see the picture I put up for you.
I just saw it. I got on it earlier, but it wasn't up yet because of the delay. But I am looking at it right now. It is a clone trooper beating up Jar Jar.
Just taking out all the Gungans.
Pretty epic.
I had one saved for JJ in case he won, and I'm going to show that off real quick. Just.
So how many people were watching?
I don't think I ever checked the actual number. We had a few people in chat.
And there you go. That's what would have popped up if JJ won.
Okay, we'll see in a second.
That's hilarious.
There it goes. Chewbacca, right? Or a squirrel. Wow, that's really random.
What can I say? I find weird stuff on the internet. Well, I think we're gonna close it up for the night.
Okay.
We'll chat more as the week goes on and figure out
Yep.
when and where and how the final will be. And unfortunately, I don't see I don't see JJ, and I know Truthiness dropped away, but I wanted to offer them a chance to play a consolation game to see who gets third place. That would also be streamed, so we'll see if we can get that going as well.
That would be a good thing to PM. Anyway, I will see you next week, Mad.
Yeah, you will see me.
For a brief period of time.
From
the captain's deck of the Demolisher, you'll see him for a brief period of time.
I was thinking about after I won yesterday, I was thinking about like how it would handle like both your list and JJ's list. I thought about your list and I was like, let me think about this. All right, I got this idea. Okay, I can't do that with this fleet. I can't do that with this fleet. All right, so you know what? I've got no plans.
God.
We are both on the list are basically designed on the same principle, just stacking advantages in our favor and then exploiting them.
Unfortunately,
which is why
yours are better than mine.
God. All right. Well, I think that's about it. We're signing off. Take care, everybody out there. One last comment from each of you. Clone as the winner. You'll get the last. Mention. Matt, anything from you? Last word.
I mean, it was a great game. I thought it was a fantastic game. I was a little bit surprised that he didn't try and skirt along the outside to try and keep the mines between him and Clone. I appreciate JJ's valiance and gallantry in warfare, though. But a great game. A great game by Clontroper.
All right, and Clone, you get the very last word as the winner.
Okay, I am so happy that I was able to play this entire thing. I'm really glad I was able to play JJ. It was always enjoy playing JJ, and I'm up for a rematch anytime. Probably be switching fleets, so we can meet on more equal footing next time. And that's all for now.